Good afternoon, Saintlanders. How are you? Today is Thursday, the 3rd of November. And if anybody's wondering why I'm wearing a new shirt on the same day as I've made other videos, it's because a storm came through here. And at the time, I didn't twig what was going on. But before the storm broke, while I was making those videos, as some of you may have noticed, I was looking down at wet patches on my desk. I think now that it was so humid, I couldn't figure it out there, it was so humid that I was perspiring so heavily that even my arms, my forearms, were perspiring right through the shirt and onto the desk, and there were two damp patches here. So I've had to freshen up a little bit, and I don't think I'll put on a towel. I haven't got a towel on because it's, as it was this morning, very, very humid and not exactly hot, but it's that upper Karoo warmth, you know, that's just, I don't know, I can't handle it. I really struggle with it. I am thinking of doing a series of videos, in which case this would be the first of that series, but it's a standalone video. So we make the video and then see about doing the rest. That may be entitled something like World War III or Armageddon or Apokalupsis, because, and I speak now as not a theologian, not as a theologian, as a layman who is observing what is going on in the world. It seems as if we may be entering a period that is the manifestation or the realization of the prophecies of the book of Revelation. And I'm going to begin by talking to you about two things that Dmitry Medvedev, the former president and prime minister of Russia, has said in recent months, very recent months. The second statement was from just about 4 weeks ago, and the prior one from about 3 months before that. So within the past 4 months, he has made two statements of the most marvelous gravity, if that is the right word. I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, Saintlanders, that a guy in his position knows many things. That you cannot attain that level in the world, particularly in certain countries. I think you can perhaps be the president or prime minister of Seychelles and not have much of a clue of the deep, dark secrets of the world. Well, let's not say dark, the deep secrets of the world. But I don't think, if your mind is at all open, that you can be the president or prime minister of, say, Russia, and not be exposed to many arcane, if you prefer, esoteric things. So let's hear what he's had to say that might be curious and intriguing for we as Christian conservative Saintlanders, beholding the peculiar events in the world of the past few years. He said, it seems to me, this was his first statement, it seems to me as if the four horsemen of the apocalypse are already running across the world. Or he might have used the word galloping across the world. So what are the four horsemen of the apocalypse? Right, early on in the book of Revelation, we get an introduction to St. John's visionary experience. And And then he gets taught about the churches and what the Lord feels about these various churches and how they should be warned. And it ends with the Laodiceans or Laodiceans, because in Greek there is not and was not a soft letter C. I don't pretend that I'm some kind of expert, but if I pronounce something that you know as a soft sibilant C differently, if I pronounce it differently to the soft sibilant C, please forgive me. And after he's finished writing about what he was told about the Laodicean church, he enters the throne room of heaven. So by now we're at chapter 4. And he's introduced to the living creatures and the marvel of this throne room of heaven. And then in chapter 5, the Lamb takes a scroll that is sealed with 7 seals. And chapter 5 is dedicated to praising the Lamb. The Lamb is worthy, the rest of us are not. You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals. The 4 living creatures and the 24 elders, having fallen down before the Lamb, sing this song. For you were slain and have redeemed us to God by your blood. And so it goes on. So what are the 4, I beg your pardon, what are the seals? Well, we're going to deal with 4 of them because they are the 4 seals pertaining to the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse, or the 4 horses, if you like, to which Dmitry Medvedev alluded. And I put it to you that a guy like that does not say things like that in hopeless ignorance. He is an heir to thousands of years of deeply profound knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So, the first seal, the first horse. This is chapter 6. Verse 1. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. Now, interestingly, you may or may not know that for the first 3/4 of Christianity, being roughly 2,000 years old, up until the 1500s, at the time of the Reformation, the Bible was rendered in the West, Central and Western Europe, not the Europe of Slavic Eastern Orthodoxy or Greek Orthodoxy. The word crown was rendered corona because all Bibles had to be in Latin. And I find that a most curious thing. Now I'll tell you something else that's quite curious, and this is not original on my part. This is thanks to Jaapie van Zyl. He who sat on it had a bow. So he who sat on the white horse. And a crown was given to him. Okay, he had a bow and then he got a corona. Oh, okay. Bow. No mention of arrows. It's fascinating to consider that if the word arrows was there, he was given a bow and arrows. The root of the word in Greek would have been the same as the word needle. A corona and a needle. Let's get a move on. The second seal, conflict on earth. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, Come and see. Another horse, fiery red went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword. Now that's fairly easy to relate to the events in Ukraine at the moment, not because it's the biggest conflict that has ever occurred, but because it possesses the potential to be become the biggest, greatest conflict in the history of mankind. I'll tell you something very interesting very quickly. Brief. In the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon talks about the times, the seasons: a season to live, a season to die, a season to grow, a season to reap, a season for peace, a season for war. If you make just one assumption, namely that the earth is intended to exist for 6,000 years, I'm not saying you must believe it. I'm saying if you're one of those people who sits in that school and you just accept that as a predicate, is it not fascinating to consider that the 28 times that King Solomon mentions, when 6,000 is divided by the 28 times, they are each 214 years and 102 days long. And the time of death, the second to last age, began with Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812, which introduced modern warfare, industrial warfare, mechanical warfare. Introduced. It was primitive, but that's how it began. With 600,000 men, he invaded Russia. And that period would end in just a couple of years' time, a few years' time. Meaning that there is a short time left before the time of peace. And I don't understand that fully. I'm not the right person to speak about it, but I thought I'd throw it in there because it intrigues me no end. Let's move on. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius," in other words, very expensive, "and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius," very expensive, by the standards of the time, "and do not harm the oil and the wine." The last phrase of the last verse, or the last phrase of the last sentence, if you prefer, has always stumped me. I've never understood it, but I've done some research and some contemplation and what have you, and it seems to mean don't even think about touching the oil and the wine. So here are the products on the shelf. We've got barley going at this rate. We've got rye going at that rate. We've got a little bit of a special on cabbages over there. Yes, very, very expensive, but we live in those days. What do you want? I'm just the grocer. And oh no! Don't even look at the oil and the wine. Out of the question. And I think by now you know better than most of all of the population of the world that we are most certainly headed for a global food shortage over the next year. Let's go on to the fourth seal, pertaining to the fourth horseman of the Apocalypse, as alluded to by Dmitry Medvedev, former president and prime minister of Russia. And now, by the way, he is the deputy head of the Security Council of Russia. under Vladimir Putin. So he now occupies what is probably the most important role in Russia, as he did before, after Vladimir Putin, because as circumstances have changed, the relevance and importance of running the Security Council has quite probably increased, so much so that it is frankly more important than running education and the Department of Administration and Department of Sports and Arts and Culture and Recreation and Land Management and so on. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. Hades being the Greek name for hell. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth. So this is Death and Hades. So Death sits on a pale horse, sometimes rendered green. He's trotting along the horse, and hell is following him. He didn't get a horse. And power was given to them, not to him, as in the first rider, the second horseman, the third rider or horse. No, in this case, it's them. They are two. Over a fourth of the earth. It says fourth of the earth. Should that have been mankind? I don't know. But power over a fourth of the earth, it says. To kill with sword and hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. I'm not going to labor this too much longer. This is a nice and succinct video, only 17 minutes long. So what I'm going to do is do a part 2 on the second comment that he has passed, Dmitry Medvedev has passed in recent months, in which he draws upon the Holy Bible, specifically the book of Revelations, to explain or to compare to what's going on in the world today. And so in this first video we've addressed, I think it was a Telegram comment originally. I didn't see it on his Telegram channel. I know his Telegram channel, but it's in Russian. But it went from wherever, Telegram to in which he said, it seems to me that the four horsemen of the apocalypse, or the four horses of the apocalypse, are already galloping across the world. So, thank you very much for watching this video. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support Saitlander's work, man, we're the best organization of our sort in the world. We have fantastic capacity and terrific leadership. If you see this video and you think that we're doing a good thing, preparing for a time in which our struggle will run parallel to a third world war, so it has been prophesied. If you think that that's a good thing to do, when we're doing a good thing, please support us. Please go to our website, saitlanders.org, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see there the various options to support us, to make donations. Thank you very much in anticipation of your help. Okie dokes. Cheerio. Bye-bye.